Hi, welcome to the Luxury Rental Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Breanna Williams. Thanks so much for being here today. So if you were with us last week, you were able to take so many notes and jot down all the good tips that Kaitlyn Aronis brought to us about DIY design versus professional design for your STRs. Kaitlyn has tons of experience in this industry, as do I, and so we just came together for quite an epic conversation that truly lasted about an hour and a half to bring you all of the tips and tricks. So we did stop that episode about halfway through, and we are going to pick it up today with part 2 of episode 13 with Kaitlyn Aronis. So get your notebooks out, have them handy, because Kaitlyn is going to drop a ton more tips for you DIY designers and also those that are looking to partner with professional designers for their STR properties. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope you get lots and lots of really good info. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome to the Luxury Rental Blueprint Podcast, your ultimate guide to creating stunning vacation and corporate rental spaces. Join us as we unveil the secrets to boosting revenue and elevating guest experiences through high-quality design and luxurious amenities. Whether you're a seasoned property investor or just starting out, on this podcast, we aim to provide you with the tools and insights you need to build your own 5-star rental empire.
And I would say the biggest thing with DIY hosts, because I work with a lot of people that kind of started DIY and then they got overwhelmed at some point during the process. And, you know, those people, one of the biggest things that I hear is, I just got decision fatigue. I couldn't make.
I was just gonna say that.
One more decision.
There's so many.
There's so many.
God. Yeah. Way too many. In all honesty. I mean, like, because that's why we do things when we do procure. And when you know, Kaitlyn is saying that we can do this in 2 weeks, and it could be a 3,000 square foot house. And we've got everything, including pots and pans and knives and cutting boards, all selected for this property in 2 weeks. The reason why we're able to do that is because, we don't look at every single, I'm not going to look at 1,000 rugs, but also I don't want to go into a store and pick out an area rug. And the reason why is because I need to be able to filter on my computer. And I know exactly what I'm looking for because my instinct is already telling me what the space needs. That's one of the benefits of having experience of doing this so many times, hundreds, if not thousands of times for some of us designers that have been doing this for a while. And it does become instinctive if you're starting out and you haven't done this 1,000 times. Most people have it. That's 150% normal. We're the not normal ones.
No, we understand we are the anomaly here. We absolutely understand that we're the exception and not the rule. Exactly. Alex, you'll enjoy this. Alex says to me all the time, when we go into a space, so we've learned for installation, and I think this is a good lesson for anybody DIY that's going to do this with a partner. So if you are listening, to all of my married people out there or partners, I mean, whoever you are, you're doing this with a friend. This one's for you. Learn what you care about and take that on and give up the rest. I talk about this often with clients, and I tell people it is my job to care 110% about your property. I need you as a client to care 20% less. And the reason I say that, and again, when you're working with a partner or you're working with a designer or, whatever it is, I have learned this about myself, and I can humbly say that I am a nightmare to have on site for day, usually 2, 3, 4 of an install. You do not want me there. And the reason for this is because I am a perfectionist and I will see every single thing that is either like just an inch off from where I would want it to be, or just because I am looking at it again through that I care 110%. And when you're installing wallpaper, when you're hanging a mirror, my husband's 6'2". So when he first started doing installs, I would walk into a property and I would go, what giant hung these mirrors? Why are they so tall? They're so high up there. I'm 5'5". I'm like
I'm staring at the bottom of it. I can't see beneath my skin.
Literally, it's my nose. And so again, but because I care so much and because I do things a certain way and I have my own ways of doing things, I cannot be on site. And I have learned that about myself. We have had, a fight or 10 about it because he is so good at the logistics of building and doing and just like getting stuff done that needs to get done. And I come in the first day and I help organize, right? So things are coming out of boxes and they're like, where does this go? Oh, well, that was a replacement pillow. It was different than what was on the design deck, but it's on the product list, right? So that's going in this room. Oh, actually, that pillow's not the same color that I thought it was going to be online. So let's put that to the side for now. This is how I want the kitchen organized, right? So I'm there to kind of like help guide the organizational ship on day 1. Day 2, 3, 4 is literally building. It is building. It is doing stuff. And there are 2 different ways to do this. So if you are DIY, again, choose your own adventure. Choose your own adventure on this one. If you are like me, I like to feel like I have gotten things done. And so I actually go room by room. So I will go into a room. I will do everything that goes into that room. So if I'm doing installs, right, which sometimes I'm trying to get out of that CEO, like I don't want to be in that phase anymore. But sometimes I do still take on installs. And so I like to go room by room and I will do the wallpaper, build the beds, put the mattress encasements on, plug in the lights, organize everything, do the cable management, hang up the TV, build the dresser, put down the rug, right? Hang the curtains, all of that stuff. And all of that gets done. And then I literally close that door and I don't go back into that room for the rest of the project because it's done. I know that it's done.
Are you saying then when you walk out of that room, everything else is a mess? And like you are just trying to
until like,
yes, yeah. The next room and like you don't even, so you're doing like, you're saying you prefer to do wallpaper, bed, all the things. And then you go to the next room and it's still blank canvas. The wallpaper's not up yet. Like, oh, interesting.
So that's how I do it. Alex probably does it. Alex does not do it that way, which is why, again,
he
is in charge. He is in charge of installation. So we default to what he does because he does it so well. And again, I'll save all the nuances for so much of what his process is because again, there's so much about it that I don't understand.
No, he's gonna be with us, guys. He'll be with us in a couple of weeks. We're gonna hear all the good install tips from Alex shortly.
Once he's off of these like 3 crazy installs that he's on. But Alex goes kind of large task to small task. And so, most of the time, like we get wallpaper up. Typically we try and get it up. We try and have a contractor get it up like before we're on site. But so he goes room by room and does all the wallpapers and then he builds all the beds and then he builds and he's got a crew, right? It's not just him. Oh my gosh. But he's got a crew. And so when he gives them task lists, he'll say, okay, I want you to go room by room and I want all the beds to be built. Okay, now I want you to do all the dressers. Now I want you to do all the nightstands. And so then those like accessories, that decor, all that stuff really goes last. So he kind of keeps that in a corner and he lets me like shop it kind of at the end. So we have a lot of ancillary decor that then I go around and I'm like, okay, this is where the books are going to go. And this is where this needs something. This needs a light, or it needs a little plant, or, it needs a little zhuzhing. And so all of those, for him, that's his process. And I think that works probably way better than my process, which is why I'm not in charge of it. But it's really just how I do it. And so, again, when you're doing DIY, the reason that I like to come in kind of at that beginning and at that end phase is because that is when I am the most helpful. And that is when we're seeing all those little things where I'm going, ooh, okay, that corner does look a little lonely, right? And so what can we put there? Can we move something? Or this room didn't fill out the way that I wanted it to. So I'm going to grab, from the ancillary budget, I'm going to grab, a piece of artwork or something like that nearby, locally, so that we can put something on that wall that we didn't think was going to look empty. But now that I'm looking at the space, it does. And so again, when you're doing DIY, figure out kind of what your process is or what you want it to be. Because if not, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be pure chaos.
Well, it'd be a little chaotic, but she's so right. It's going to be like insanely chaotic to the point where it could be overwhelming.
Yes. I'll share a cute story. My grandmother lives in West Palm Beach. So we talked about our last Florida project. So my grandmother is 90 and lives in West Palm Beach, and she's amazing and still travels and goes on girls trips and golfs 4 times a week. And so she lived I know, I'm right. I'm just thank goodness for those genes. And so do
you have a picture of your grandma? So we're going to put a picture of your grandma up.
I have a video of her reaction from this last, walkthrough, that we did.
Love it.
So this last project that we were on, install started Monday. And again, this just goes to show for all those hosts out there, when you have a crew that's doing it professionally. So install delivery got dropped off Monday afternoon, about 2 p.m. We had photos the next Monday morning scheduled at 10 a.m. So think about this completely empty house. There's a custom bench going in. There's a fire pit that needs to be built. There's rocks that need to be put in around the mini golf area. There's a play set that needs to be built. There's all the furniture. There's new steps. There's, again, you name it, it had to happen this week. And so wallpaper was supposed to go in on Tuesday. Didn't end up going in until Saturday, which was a little stressful. And I would say thank goodness this guy was incredible and came in, did 6 walls of wallpaper in 12 hours, which was insanity. But my grandma kept asking, she was like, when do I get to go? I want to see it. And Alex was leaving on Sunday to go to a job in West Virginia. So I was going to be kind of the last styling on Sunday before photos, but everything else is going to be installed. And my 9-year-old grandma, she came on Saturday morning. And so she came over on Saturday morning, and she was about 20 minutes from the property. She had never gotten to see a property in real life that I've designed. And she came in and there were 10 ceiling fans on the lawn and just trash everywhere. And, most of everything had been built, right? But none of it had been styled. There was no wallpaper up yet. And she looks me dead in the face and she goes, they think that this is going to be done by the end of the year. And I look at her and I go, this is going to be done by the end of the day tomorrow. And she gives me this look, this very stubborn look, child, you're crazy.
But bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Well, bless her heart. And she looked at us and she went, okay. And I could tell that she did not believe me. And again, I feel like that's how a lot of DIY hosts feel up until like the 11th hour, because they're like, there's no way this is going to come together. And I promise you, it does. If you're working with an installation team and you're getting updates from them and it looks like a trash pile for 5 days, trust the process. Just trust the process. It's going to be okay. She came back Monday morning before we had photos, and she walked in and she was just like, what? Because it looks like a completely different space. Everything was done. Trash was all gone. Everything was cleaned. We had professional cleaners come in on Sunday. Everything was styled, pictures out with ice and orange slices and, all this stuff and, cute little straws and all. Like every table was set. And it is shocking how quickly it can come together. Again, whether you're doing it yourself or, you're doing it with a professional team. But again, if you're working with someone and they're sending you updates, like, don't be scared. It's all going to be okay. I can't tell you how many times people are like, should we push photos? Should we not? I feel like we need more time. And you're like, no, it's going to get done. Are you a like late night builder when you're doing install? Because you offer install too, right?
Yeah, we do install, but we generally will bring people in to do all of the assembly. So furniture assembly, like I'm the same as you. I don't like furniture assembly. I will say the very first project that I ever handled install on, I said, don't worry about it. I can handle the installation. They were supposed to handle installation. They had a family emergency come up, and I was, we didn't want to have to push it back. Their launch date.
No,
so
life happens.
I do your thing. You guys go to the hospital, hang out there. It's fine. Yeah. I'm going to take care of it. It'll take me like a weekend, right, to get all this put together. And I took my brother and I took my husband, and it was the three of us, and we started doing these things. Mind you, one of the rooms had a Murphy bed. So there was 3 boxes for this Murphy bed. They each weighed 300 pounds, and there was a flight of stairs for this condo. So my husband and I are moving this each 300-pound box up these stairs. So when I hear people tell me, I have hot tub installers that are like, we can't pick that hot tub up off the ground. And I'm like, I took 300-pound boxes upstairs with me and my husband. Come on, please. But anyway, I just remember my husband saying like, so for that this was many years ago, and I learned my lesson, but I think I charged like $300 for the weekend.
Oh my goodness, girl.
For an entire weekend, which turned into 4 weekends of building furniture because there was not enough time. We're carrying these boxes, and my husband's just going, Bree, $300, Bree. $300 for 3 boxes that are 300 pounds each. $300, Bree. And I swear I'll never leave it down. We did not finish. We got everything unboxed that day. We did not finish. So what happened, we ended up having to go back to finish installing the Murphy bed with all 4 kids in tow on our anniversary. We spent our anniversary at a project with all 4 kids. We got them Chick-fil-A. We set them up at the kitchen counter. I said, do not touch anything else. And there are children screaming in the background. And that's what we did. Like it was chaos and it was fun, but y'all learn from my mistakes. Like just hire somebody to assemble the things and then come in and make it pretty. It 100% looks worse before it looks better. Like way, 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 way worse before it looks better.
Oh, and it looks like better.
Yes, exactly. And then once you've done it yourself, you'll understand why it's worth paying somebody for, because that wasn't worth $300. It wouldn't even be worth $3,000 for me at this point. I will not do it. I will just pay somebody else to do it.
Yes. Well, and I think that like I said, a lot of the times, we have a price list, and like you said, we've learned our lesson, I think, the hard way many times. One of the things that we've learned was, furniture removal for refreshes. So that is something that we pretty much will say, like, I have no interest in doing that. Or we'll say like, hey, if you're removing things, we'll give you a list of the items that need to be removed like prior to us getting on site to do install. Because it's really hard to work around furniture and then, you don't know what that furniture is made of. We just did a refresh and Alex jokes. He's like, I'm pretty sure the Flintstones made every single piece of furniture because it was all stone. Everything was a cement stone. It weighed like literally 400 pounds for like a side table. I mean, it was insane. How heavy it was. And, a lot of trash removal places are based on weight. And so we're like, okay, well, a lot of that stuff that we ended up moving weighed a lot. It ended up costing us more to get rid of. So like you said, I mean, there's so many nuances that go into it, but I really think, like you said, I mean, I want to make sure that people know there is space for DIY, right? I think, there's space for DIY, but it doesn't have to be. What I like to tell my clients is like, there's a difference between doing it yourself and doing it alone. And I think when you say, well, I want to DIY it, you can do it yourself with professional help. Doing it alone is where I think a lot of people go, they kind of become traumatized and they go, never again. I have one short-term rental. I'm never doing this again. This was so much work. And, you have clients, Alex and I have talked about it too, where we've said, oh, it'd be so wonderful to get a property and go and live there and kind of slowly do renovations, ourselves. And that sounds like a really enjoyable thing for the two of us because I have a background. I've done woodworking before. I've done renovations before. That's really where I kind of like got my start in design was, doing renovations and working on, we have a new build client that we're working with right now. It's really fun. There's a ton of choices that go into new builds. There's a ton of choices that go into, renovations. And so it's thinking through, again, all of those nuances up front that sounds enjoyable to us. And if you are also one of those people that it sounds enjoyable to you, that's amazing. But just because you want to do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. There's people that will, for example, with us, you can piecemeal our services. You can say, I just want to do e-design. I want you to design it. I want you to send me a list of the 500 items that I need to buy. And, I organize it for you as best I can. I get you discounts and access the best that I can. So, whether we're, we have an account with Minoan or Host GPO, or like Amazon lists, right? I can send all of those things for you to make procurement easier, but you're ultimately going to be 100% in charge of that. And for those types of services, again, work with someone, ask about e-design services. As I mentioned, our installation services, there are times where we don't do design and somebody just hires Alex to do installation, whether they did the design themselves or they hired another designer, he'll go in and that's what he's doing right now. So don't be afraid to ask the questions and don't be afraid to say, I want to be involved, but I don't want to search for 10 hours for a couch. Right? Like most people fall in that boat. And so again, ask the questions, like understand, yes, you can do it yourself. Just don't do it alone. Find a community, find someone professional, or again, reach out to your network and see if somebody's looking to, get into this space and wants an opportunity. Great. Again, I think there's space for everyone, depending on really what your budget is. And there's some clients that tell me like, I don't want to be involved at all. And I want you to make every decision and call me when it's done. But like I said, the most fun projects are the projects that we get to be collaborative on. I think you'd probably agree with that as well. Is like, I love learning about my clients and, learning like the nuances. And I usually ask like silly questions and, you get to know them really well and you get to understand what their priorities are. And then you get to help them implement that. So like I said, but it can be a lot. It can be a lot. Decision fatigue is real. And if you are in decision fatigue mode, look at working with someone professionally in 2025 in whatever capacity is the best for you.
Transform your real estate investment with Mumford Designs, the boutique interior design firm specializing in short-term and medium-term rental properties. Our data-driven approach ensures your property not only stands out, but consistently delivers 5-star guest experiences. We blend style with strategy, crafting spaces that optimize guest satisfaction and drive top revenue year after year. Our services go beyond aesthetics to provide a full spectrum solution tailored to real estate investors. We offer a property audit that delivers detailed market research, helping to identify design and amenity opportunities within your market. We also create guest avatar profiles to anticipate guests' needs, driving both design decisions and marketing strategies. From full-service design, sourcing, purchasing, and delivery coordination, to installation and staging, we handle every detail, so investors can sit back and enjoy the results. For more in-depth projects, we also offer construction management, ensuring your design vision is realized with precision. With Mumford Designs, you can trust that your property will exceed guest expectations and boost your revenue potential without you having to lift a finger. Book your discovery call at the link in this episode's show notes to get started. Elevate your investment with Mumford Designs, where smart design meets lasting results. Even if that's just a consultation, most designers offer a 1 or a 2 hour consultation where you can do a virtual, like a Zoom call or something, and you can pick our brains and ask all the things. And maybe the decision that you're totally stuck on, we can help you break that. And then from there, things start flowing again. Because sometimes it's one decision that really backs you up, so to speak. And then you're just going to get stuck and you're like, I don't want to do this. And so you don't do anything for a week. You'll find everything else to do, like your laundry and, cleaning the windowsills before you make that decision. And it even happens to us. Like these things happen to us as well. And so we have a circle of designers that we go to sometimes and say, I'll call Kaitlyn and say, I am so stuck on this. What is wrong with me? Like something's not working with this. And then it's just a quick like, hey, did you think about this? Oh my gosh, I couldn't. And then boom, it all starts to domino effect. Everything starts to come together and then it moves forward. So even if you just take an hour and, book a designer for an hour, ask them the questions, make sure you come prepared, have all of your questions written down so you don't blank out and, you get the most bang for your buck. That's beautiful.
We'll usually end up saving you money, which I know that a lot of the times, it's funny because I would say one of the biggest misconceptions is people are like, oh, it's expensive to hire, an interior designer for a short-term rental, which 100%, like I said, I get it. It is an expense, for a lot of people. It's not attainable for whatever reason. But I will say having that person on your team, I've saved people tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, on like single projects, because they're thinking of it one way. They're thinking of it from, an equity homeowner standpoint. And I'm thinking of it from a cash flow standpoint. And so, they'll say, oh, during my underwriting, we need to completely gut this bathroom and we need to completely gut the kitchen. And so we've got $60,000 that we're putting towards, that. And then we'll go in and I'll take a look at it and I'll go, well, that bathroom's fine. It just needs to be repainted. You need to replace the vanity and everything else. Again, your short-term rental guest, as long as it's clean, there's really no reason to gut it. Same with the kitchen. Hey, well, have you thought about just getting a quote for painting the kitchen cabinets and updating the hardware? Because that's not going to be a $40,000 gut job. that's going to be more in the $6,000 to $10,000. So we just freed up so much budget to put towards a hot tub and adding an amenity and adding mini golf or, whatever it is. It makes you think about it differently. And so, we were just talking about this. I was just telling you the story of, our last client. We've got a ton of room that's at the back of the property, and, we're going to put in a sports court and a pickleball court, and we were still going to have room at the back of the property. It's a really deep property. And they were like, oh, we're going to put another structure, back there. And immediately my brain went, oh my gosh, that's going to be so expensive. There's no plumbing. You have to run plumbing. You have to run electrical. Who knows what that permitting process is going to look like. You're probably going to be a year in on permits. If you want to do that, you better start it now and then maybe be able to do it by the end of the year next year. And we were talking through it because the pickleball court's going to be laid probably in the next week or two. And they were going to put it kind of right up against the casita. And we talked about it and I said, well, actually, if you're going to add on, it would actually be so much more and affordable to just add on to this area, right? And we can build an extra bunk room. We can do, kind of an add-on here. You're not running new electrical. You're literally laying foundation. You don't have to run plumbing. It's all just structural at that point. And that permitting process is way, way, way faster. And again, but if you're going to put in the sports court, don't lay cement right here. And then we have to move it, right? So think about that up front. And so again, just doing that, literally just having that one conversation, I think they were simultaneously, you're costing me money because I now want to do this. I now want to add on to the house. But at the same time, probably just saved them $100,000, of kind of thinking it through beforehand. So that's what happens when, again, you're doing it yourself. Ultimately, the owner is always going to have the final say of making those bid decisions. But you don't have to do it alone. So you have somebody who's there to kind of bounce ideas off of and give you, again, their insight into where to spend, where to save, how to do this in a way that we're not thinking just about the next thing. We're thinking about the next 5 things that you have to do that are going to impact that first thing. So yeah, I like I said, I think there's many ways. Yes, it's an investment. But like I said, I think many projects have saved people a lot of time, a lot of headache. And again, then there's times where I see people do DIY and I'm just blown away at how amazing they did. And, and they'll come back and they'll go, oh my gosh, how do you do this all the time? Because it's so much work. And I'm like, you build a process, you build a process to make it sustainable, long term. And we learn from our mistakes, and you learn from our mistakes as much as possible.
I get the same thing all the time. They're like, how do you do this day in and day out? And it's like, we do it. We just do it. And we have systems and we have processes in place, and it holds everything together.
Yeah. There are rules, right? There are rules, for everything, especially in design. And, again, the more that you do it, the easier it becomes, the more second nature it becomes. But, that decision fatigue, like you said, there's times where I have to walk away from a project, or I have to look at something else or look at a different style for a little while because there is a decision fatigue, on our end too, where I've looked at 27 rugs for this room, and why can't I just pick a freaking rug? And, and that happens. And then you walk away from it and then you go, ooh, there's this one rug that I've used on the one project that would be really cute. And then, you kind of have to step away from it. But when you're in it and you have to make every single decision yourself, it's hard. It's hard. It's exhausting. And so, helping my clients through that and not giving them 27 options for something, giving them 3 or 2, options. A lot of the times I'll put together like a wallpaper bundle, and I'm like, here's 12 wallpapers that fit like the style that you're going through. Pick 6. And then we'll do placement, on the walls of where they should go and, all that stuff. And, like I said, it really helps, I think, that decision-making process. It helps them not feel so incredibly overwhelmed. If I sent them, spoon of flour and I was like, go pick a wallpaper, they would be like, there's 100,000 wallpapers. How am I supposed to, what am I supposed to search for? And they very quickly realize like, oh, that was a mistake. I should have had you just send me, 6 wallpapers to choose from. But yeah, that's, like I said, I think thinking that designers are like against DIY, especially as our industry grows, I think like I said, there are ways to do it, and there's ways to do it successfully. But really, ultimately, I mean, if I can leave you with anything, it's don't leave these decisions for the end. Make those decisions with whoever it is that's part of your process up front. So, you should be asking, how are we handling installation? How are we handling receiving? How are we handling, warehousing and delivery? How do we want to handle that? And by answering those questions up front, whether you're doing DIY or you're working with someone professionally, it will make the process go so much smoother. Because when I have clients that go, well, let's just do design and then we'll figure that part out when we come to that part, that's when you get delays in projects. That's when things get pushed. That's when, it then becomes overwhelming because you didn't think about warehousing costs. You didn't think about installation costs. And so now you're going, well, I'm spending all this money and it's just and instead of accounting for it all up front, whether it's in the underwriting phase or whether it's just in that discussion with your, interior designer or, design team, whoever you're working with. So, figure those out up front and it'll be way, way less overwhelming when it comes down to it. And there won't be unexpected costs. I will always be honest with my clients up front. I'll answer those questions. And if they say, oh, I didn't think about that. Okay, well, warehousing on average costs between $2,000 and $4,000. So if your all-in budget is $40,000 and you're looking at design services, warehousing, installation, your budget for product just got very, very small. And so again, that's where knowing those numbers up front, understanding, that earlier in the process is really going to help you. So hopefully for those hosts that are like 2025, I'm going to hit the ground running. I'm going to find a house, right? This time of year, we get a lot of like beach houses to design because it's off season. And so, we get a lot, I feel like, of beach houses. And then the summer, we do a lot of cabins. It kind of tends to be like cyclical like that. But if you are hitting the ground running in 2025, reach out to either one of us. I mean, reach out to anybody that's been on this podcast. You've had so many great guests and there's someone out there for everyone for what you're trying to do at your price point, at your budget. If it's not us, if it's not, one of the two of us, we'll refer you. Hey, what's your budget? Hey, what are you looking for? Oh, we don't do that, but our network is so vast. Like, oh, I don't do, kitchen remodels, right? Like kitchen designs, but I'll refer you to somebody who does that. And we do that, but you know what I mean? There's so...
We're always happy to help and give that referral.
Yeah, we're always happy to like guide you in the right direction of who's going to be the best fit for you. And then ultimately, again, when you hit the ground running, you're going to have a team behind you that really cares about you and cares about your end product. And in January 2025, product will be back in stock because right now I'm looking at procurement and going, oh gosh, this is a lot. But yeah, it's a fun time of year.
It's a tough season.
It is. It is. Well, normally we're kind of slow this time of year. I would say, like, most of the time I feel like it's kind of chill. This year I don't know what happened.
I don't either. I have no idea. Yeah, it's been insane. I thought this was the year I was going to take like all of December off just to spend it with family. And that is not how it has happened.
No, I think Alex will have been gone from November 20th to December 19th. He gets home. So he'll have been gone for a month. And then we leave for Florida like 4 days later. And I was like, why don't you just go to Florida? And he's like, no, I want to go home. So we're going to go to Florida again to see family. But yeah, it's, like I said, I mean, it's just, there's a lot happening in the market. There's a lot happening kind of out in the world. And I think it's a really exciting time to get into short-term rentals. And there's so many resources now, places that you can go to work with somebody to do like your cost seg and to do your underwriting and look at deals for you and analyze those deals. And there's so many new companies that kind of are existing and building their services. And so, continue educating yourself, listening to podcasts like this, where, we are a resource for you. And yeah, I'm always happy to guide you no matter where you're at in the process, or just answer your questions about the business as a whole. I mean, like I said, it's my job to not only understand the design side of things, but also understand where the market's going. What are up and coming areas, to take a look at. Take a look at floor plans. I have clients that hire me before they even buy a property. They'll put a deposit down and kind of hold their spot. And, what's great about that is they'll send me properties and they'll say, are there any red flags that you're seeing here? My acquisitions team is telling me XYZ. What do you think? And then I can kind of help them from the design side saying, hey, well, actually space-wise, like there might be some challenges here, or this might not work the best way. So, getting somebody again on your team that understands all of the nuances is great. And, there's so many resources out there. Continue to, lean on us as much as you can or as much as you want to. And we're always here to help. This is the best part. Best part of the job is helping clients launch successful businesses. It's so rewarding.
I 100% agree. So in that, where can the guests find you? Where's the best way for them to connect with you if they do have questions?
Yes. So you can always go to our website, which is www.cohohouse.com. So COHOHOUSE.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Kaitlyn _Aronis. So KAITLYN _Aronis, ARONIS. But there are links on our website. You can schedule a call with me for design or just general consultation. You can schedule directly with Alex to talk about installation services. That's the best way to connect with us. There's also a link to book with us on my Instagram, but we share lots of tips and tricks there. It's my personal account, and so you'll see some like fun things. We share a lot about Alex and I working together and the ins and outs of how wonderful that is and how challenging that can be, and all of that good stuff. Hi, little ones. This is family friendly. This is always supposed to be. That's what this is supposed to be. I think
really,
that's
except for she just ran across here and she's not wearing any clothes. Welcome to my life.
I love it. And you're like, excuse me.
Yes, I'm like, my hands went out to
You're
the side.
no. That's a video cut at that point.
Right.
But
no, thank you so much.
Yes,
I second, like 100% join her on Instagram because it is not only entertaining, but it's also very educational. And you really will get a good sense of what it's like to be setting up properties and things like that.
Yes,
Yes,
I am too. No, I was going to say, yes, you'll get some really funny insight. The last one, I don't know if you caught one of my stories. About 20 minutes before my client showed up on Monday to do the photo shoot, I fell in the pool. Fully clothed. Phone went just straight in the pool. We had a raccoon that had decided to make a home on the property that we are now trying to get rid of. And it had offed one of our pool floaties. So we had to fix that. And the reason I was doing it was because I was trying to get the pool floaty. And I just literally fell headfirst into the pool. So again, we are not without our flaws. That is for sure. And it's an entertaining ride. So definitely follow along for some misadventures of installing short-term rentals, because there's always going to be something that happens.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. It's a long episode, so we might even break it up into two parts. So thank you one more time. And I feel like, you know what I'm going to have to do is end every episode with a round of applause for our guests. Insert round of applause.
Yeah. Round of applause. So grateful for you guys for listening. Thank you so much. I could literally talk to you for days. So I know there's so much that goes into this, and I appreciate you taking time. I think it's so cool, to have a podcast that is really just so collaborative in the design community and focusing on these very, very nuanced discussions. There's so many different great podcasts out there, but I think this is so valuable for your listeners. So thank you for having me on again. I can't wait to just, again, listen to all the other ones. I'm excited for Alex's episode because he doesn't do media very much, and he's the cutest. So I'm excited for you guys to chat and for again him to just share all of the things that he has learned and perfected on the installation side of things. So looking forward to that and many, many more.
Oops, absolutely agreed. I can't wait for his episode as well. Thank you so much.
Bye.